Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the inner sanctum.
We start off this hour with some crime drama. Dick Kollmar starring as Boston-Blackie, and this episode of the program was originally broadcast on April 7th, 1949, and the story of photographer Clyde Winston.
Oh, good evening, Miss Anderson.
Good evening, Joe. Table for two?
The best in Joe King's fraternity house, Miss Anderson, for the prettiest model in the city.
That's what you tell every model who comes in here, Joe, and don't deny it.
I won't. Every model in the city comes in here, and each one of them is the prettiest. You're meeting the usual, unusual young man tonight?
No, I'm having dinner with Clyde Winston, the photographer.
Oh.
We'd like a rather quiet table to talk business.
Oh, I'll give you the quietest table in the place. Right this way, Miss Anderson.
Thanks. I was at Mr. Winston's studio this afternoon. He wants to talk about giving me a contract. I've been trying for a contract with him for a long time.
So is every other model.
Don't I know?
Well, how about this table?
Oh, this one will be perfect, Joe, thanks. I'll wait for Mr. Winston before I order.
Oh, of course. Uh-oh. Maybe you'd like to switch to a table for three.
Well, why do you say that?
Well, here comes your regular young man. And he looks as if he's looking for you. But when isn't he? Shall I...
Never mind. He's already seen me. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Evelyn. Good evening, Joe.
Hi. Well, I'll be seeing you two.
Thank you, Joe. Bill, what are you doing here? I told you this morning I was meeting Clyde Winston this afternoon and made a date with him to have dinner.
You met him this afternoon?
Yes, at about 4. Why?
Why?
Yes.
Because this afternoon at about 4 o'clock, Clyde Winston was murdered.
Now on to Dick Kollmar as Boston-Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
Hello.
Hello, Blackie. This is Mary.
Hi, Mary. What's going on?
Have you been listening to the radio?
No, should I have been?
Well, that all depends.
On what?
On whether you want to see me or Inspector Faraday this evening.
Oh, you're much prettier than he is.
Oh.
What makes you think I'd want to see him?
You remember Clyde Winston?
The photographer?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I remember him. Why?
He was shot at 4 o'clock this afternoon, according to a news broadcast I just heard.
What are you going to do later, Mary?
That's what I thought. Someday I'm going to remember not to call you up when there's been a murder.
I'll make it up to you.
Uh-huh.
Tell you what I'll do.
What?
I'll let you pick any place you want to go, and I'll take you there. Just as soon as I find out who murdered Winston.
How do you know you're going to find out who killed him?
He was a photographer, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Well, you know the little birdie the photographers ask you to watch.
of course. What about the little birdie?
Maybe I can get the little birdie to tell me who killed its boss.
I'll tell you just once more, Blackie.
Good.
Get out of this studio. There'll be another murder here. Yours.
Now, Faraday, you know you want me here. After all, 2 heads are better than 1.
I don't need you to help me.
That's right, you don't. You already have 2 heads, don't you? I forgot.
Aha.
Inspector, I knew Winston. When I heard he was dead, I came right over. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Now that you found I'm here, you can beat it. 4, 5, 6.
Faraday, what kind of gun killed him?
A shotgun. Winston never had a chance.
Did you find the gun?
No, we didn't find a gun.
Did you find anyone who saw somebody come in here carrying a case of some kind?
No, we didn't find anybody who saw him.
Well, then you've got 2 mysteries. 3, really. 1, who killed Winston? 2, how did a man carrying a shotgun get in here without being seen?
What's the third, genius?
The 3rd is, how do you keep your job without me helping you? You know something, Inspector?
According to you, I don't know anything.
Oh, you're just being self-conscious.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I don't like the fact that Winston was killed by a sawed-off shotgun. We don't know how it got in here. Oh, say, wait, I've got it. The fire escape.
You got a surprise coming to you. There's only that one window in this studio and no fire escape.
All right, so I was wrong.
Oh, no, not you.
No, I thought I was. Faraday, how did anyone bring that shotgun in here without being seen?
I don't know, but I... Come in.
Excuse me, Inspector Faraday.
Oh, come in, Carl.
Who's this, Faraday?
This is Carl, the elevator man. The only way up to this studio is in his elevator. What do you want, Carl?
Well, Inspector, you asked before who came to see Mr. Winston carrying some kind of package, and all I thought of was the men.
Yeah?
I forgot all about the model. And she left, looking all excited.
How do you know she was a model?
Oh, that's easy. She was carrying one of those round hat boxes all models carry.
That does it. That's how that shotgun was brought in here, in that model's dressing case.
Not so fast, Faraday. You say Winston was shot about 4 o'clock. When did that model leave here, Cole?
Well, that's just it. She left about 4.
Looks like she's the one we want, Blackie.
Maybe. There are a lot of model agencies in this town. Yeah, I'm going to all of them. You know, finding the beautiful model, Faraday, may pose a pretty problem. Hello.
Hello? Can I help you?
Is this Harry Conover's office, home of the famous Conover cover girls?
Yes, it is.
I'm Boston-blackie.
How do you do?
And what are you doing in back of a desk when you should be in front of a camera?
I'm Mr. Conover's secretary. What can I do for you?
Right now, you can tell Mr. Conover I want to see him.
In just a minute, I'll buzz him.
Yes, Sylvia?
Boston-Blackie's here, Mr. Conover.
Oh, well, tell him to come right in.
Yes, sir. You may go right in.
Thanks, beautiful.
It's that door to the left.
Never mind telling me. I know the way. I've been here before. But why haven't you? Hello, Harry.
Blackie, good to see you.
Thanks, Harry. Nice to see you. Say, I'm looking for a model who might have killed Clyde Winston this afternoon.
Oh, that was too bad about Winston, wasn't it?
Yes.
But our models don't kill people, Blackie. As a matter of fact, one look at a Conover model and you want to go on living.
I agree with you, Harry. But was one of your models at Winston's this afternoon?
I don't know, and I'll check with Sylvia and see.
Yes, Mr. Conover?
Sylvia, while I hold the phone, look in the file and see if one of the girls was booked at Winston's studio this afternoon.
Right away, sir.
You don't think one of my girls killed Winston, do you, Blackie?
Winston was killed by a shotgun, Harry. No one was seen carrying a gun in or out of Winston's studio. But a shotgun broken down could be carried in a model's hat box.
Well, I assure you nothing more than makeup and a change of clothes are in those boxes, Blackie.
Don't think that makeup and an evening gown can't be deadly.
Mr. Conover?
Yes, Sylvia?
Evelyn Anderson had an appointment at Winston's studio from 3 till 4 this afternoon.
Evelyn Anderson?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Sylvia. Evelyn Anderson, Blackie. She was there from 3 till 4.
And Winston was shot at 4, close to 4. Harry, I'd like to talk to that. Hey, what's that? Sounds like the beginning of a fight out in your reception room. Well, let's put a quick finish to this. Come on, Harry.
Right.
I'm going to tear your hair out for that. Let me just get it. That's all I want to do.
Hey, break it up, you two. Break it up.
After all, I'm supposed to...
This is a model agency, not Madison Square Garden.
What's the trouble out there, Evelyn?
Oh, hello, Mr. Conover. There's nothing really wrong.
No? Looks to me like nylons were on sale at $10 a pair.
What happened, Sylvia?
Evelyn got angry because I told you she was at Winston's this afternoon.
Oh, this is Evelyn Anderson, huh?
Yes.
That's right, Blackie. This is the model you asked about. Evelyn, this is Boston-blackie, and he wants to talk to you.
Okay. What about?
You're not here, Miss Anderson.
All right.
Let's go down to police headquarters and let Inspector Faraday in on the conversation.
You say you heard a shot just after you left Winston's studio, Miss Anderson? Then why didn't you report it?
Faraday, she said she heard what might have been a shot.
Be quiet, Blackie. Answer my question, Miss Anderson.
I didn't know it was a shot. After Mr. Winston told me he couldn't photograph me because his plates hadn't arrived, I left. And I didn't know Mr. Winston was dead until a little after 6.
How'd you find out?
I was waiting for Mr. Winston in Joe King's Rathskeller when my boyfriend Bill Jackson came in and told me.
Bill Jackson, huh?
Yes.
How'd he know about it?
He said he heard it on the radio.
Just a minute. Yeah?
Inspector, this is Matthews.
Yes, Sergeant.
We found a sawed-off shotgun that's been fired recently
Good work, Sergeant. Where?
in the back seat of a car owned by a guy named Bill Jackson.
Listen to me, Bill. Don't talk, just listen.
All right, Evelyn, go ahead.
I'm at my apartment, but there's a policeman in the next room. They let me come here to change my clothes.
Well, I'll be right over.
No, keep away from me and keep away from the police.
The police?
Bill, they found the shotgun that killed Winston. They found it in your car.
But they couldn't have.
But they did. Now, you keep out of this and I'll be all right. I didn't kill Winston and I'll be able to prove I didn't.
But you think I did.
What I think doesn't matter.
Hurry up, Miss Anderson.
I'll only be a minute more, officer.
Okay, but step on it.
I will. Bill, I don't have much time.
But you've got time to listen to me. I don't know how that shotgun got in my car. It must have been planted there.
I love you and I believe you, Bill, but the police won't.
Evelyn, you were in Winston's studio at about the time he was killed.
Yes, that's why the police are going to hold me. But I can... Bill, you don't think I killed him?
Remember what you said. It doesn't matter what either of us think. It's what the police think that matters. What the police think and what we're going to do.
Gus, what are you laughing about, Gus?
The news in the paper about the murder of Clyde Winston.
Oh. Well, what about it, Gus?
They've arrested Bill Jackson for it, Mabel. Arrested him for something they'll never be able to prove against him.
Uh-huh. But how can you be sure, Gus?
Because, Mabel, they'll never be able to find out how young Jackson carried a shotgun in and out of Winston's studio without being seen.
But you know how, don't you, Gus?
Yes, I know how, Mabel. Didn't I tell you I'd kill Winston for stealing my patent?
Yeah.
My life's work.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't I tell you I'd kill him?
Yes, Gus, you told me.
Well, I did what I told you I'd do.
I know, and I helped you.
Oh, Mabel, you only helped me get the gun out of the studio.
Oh.
You don't know how I got it into a studio without being seen by anyone.
No, I don't. Gus, how'd you do it?
How? That's something neither you, the police, or anyone else will ever figure out.
April 7th, 1948, Boston-Blackie on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. By the way, Dick Kollmar was a radio actor. He also did on Broadway. He acted on Broadway, but mainly a behind-the-scenes producer. Probably his best-known radio work was not Boston-Blackie, but a morning show called Dick and Dorothy. Yeah, Dick Kollmar starred with his wife, newspaper woman, and panelist on What's My Line, Dorothy Kilgallen. Dick Kollmar, Boston-Blackie, from April 7th, 1948.
Photographer Clyde Winston is killed by a sawed-off shotgun. The last person to see him alive is Conover model Evelyn Anderson. Since no one was seen carrying a shotgun in or out of Winston's studio, Boston-Blackie and Inspector Faraday both agree that the gun could have been carried in the model's dressing case. Later, the murder weapon is found in the back seat of Evelyn's boyfriend's car, and the boyfriend, Bill Jackson, is arrested. As we return to our story, the photographer's real killer is with a friend.
Gus, what are you working on?
It's no developer, can't you see?
Oh.
I'll get something yet that's an improvement. Yes. And Winston won't steal it from me this time.
Poor man. He's being buried today.
Yes, I know, Mabel. Do you want to go to the funeral?
You're not going, are you, Gus?
No, but you can. After all, you knew him.
Yeah.
You scrubbed the floors in his studio for years.
But I wanted to leave him all dirty for what he did to you, Gus.
I did worse to him than leave his floors unscrubbed.
I know.
And I'm proud of the way I did it.
I helped you, Gus. You won't forget that, will you?
No, Mabel, I won't forget. I'll take care of you.
Oh, Gus, I don't want anything. I just want you to remember that I helped you.
Mm-hmm.
Gus.
Yes?
Gus, there's a shotgun in the closet over there.
I know, Mabel.
It's loaded, too. I looked.
Yes, I know, Mabel. That's the gun I experimented with.
But you're not going to use it, are you, Gus?
No, Mabel, I'm not going to use it. But I'll keep it around and load it in case of emergency.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, we don't know when. Oh, I just remembered something.
What?
We're in trouble, Mabel. In Winston's studio.
You left something there?
No, Mabel. It's something I didn't leave there.
What?
Never mind what. We still have time to do something about it right away. No one is smart enough to know there's a clue in Winston's studio because of something that isn't there.
Jackson, I'm warning you.
Inspector,
you
I tell you...
Miss Anderson not leaving my office till you tell me how you got into Winston's studio without being seen.
I tell you I wasn't there, Inspector. How can I convince him, Blackie?
I wouldn't know.
If you weren't there, Jackson, what was that shotgun doing in the back of your car?
I don't know.
You might as well give up, Faraday. Neither of these two is going to tell you anything more.
What do you mean, anything more, Blackie? They haven't told me anything yet.
Oh, we've told you all we know, Inspector Faraday.
Yes, so you say. Jackson, I think you killed Winston. You got into his studio in disguise, and that Miss Anderson here carried the shotgun in her dressing case.
They make a good team, Faraday, but not a good one for murder. At least that's what I think.
Yeah, Blackie, you'd think anything, as long as it didn't agree with me.
Well, I'm going to do something right now that agrees with you.
Yeah, what'll you bet?
I'm going to leave here.
You win.
I'm going over to Winston's studio. There must be something at that photographer's that will develop into a clue to a killer.
I'll keep those things I gave you in your trash bag, Mabel.
Yeah, I will.
If anyone sees us, it'll look as if you're just carrying a sack full of papers and things.
All right. I don't see how you forgot to do this in the first place. You thought of everything.
Of almost everything, Mabel, but almost isn't good enough. Oh, here's Winston's studio. Oh, you have a key, don't you?
This is heavy. Well, I'll open the door, Gus.
Hurry up.
Just a minute. Just a minute now.
Anyone sees us now, you're just cleaning up, and I've just dropped in looking for some equipment that Winston borrowed from me.
Yes, Gus.
All right. Now, let's put on the act we planned just in case someone's in here.
All right, Gus. Of course you can come in, sir, but I don't know whether you should touch anything.
Well, I've only come for what belongs to me. It's equipment that Winston borrowed from me. It has my company name on it.
Is your company name on a shotgun, too?
No.
Who's there?
Oh, you can't see me in the dark, can you? Then I'll turn on the light.
Oh.
I turned it out when I heard you outside the door. I suppose you don't know who I am.
Oh, I do. I've seen your picture in the papers. You're Boston-blackie. I'm Mabel. I'm just the cleaning woman here.
Uh-huh. And who's this, the cleaning man?
Oh, no,
I'm
no,
Gus
no.
Thomas. Mr. Winston has some of my equipment out on lease. I own the Gem Photographic Supply Company.
Well, I'm looking for someone who supplies Winston's killer with an invisible shotgun.
Yes. Yes, I heard he'd been killed with a gun that no one brought in here.
I don't like the laugh on your face. What's the matter? Didn't you like Winston?
Me? Of course I did.
Mm-hmm.
Blackie.
Yes?
How is it the police couldn't find anyone who saw anybody carrying a shotgun into this studio before Winston was killed? As I understand it, the only way up here is by the elevator. And the elevator man didn't see anyone carrying any kind of package.
Gus, is it all right if I go now?
Well...
wait a minute, Mabel.
Yes?
Gus, you wanted to know why nobody was seen carrying a shotgun into this place. I'll tell you one way it could have been done, now that I come to think of it.
Really?
Yeah. Mabel could have brought it in with her cleaning tools.
Oh.
That is, if you and Mabel are friends.
Oh, no, I didn't know this gentleman, Blackie, and there's one other reason I couldn't have brought a shotgun in.
What's the other reason?
I didn't come to work till after the shot was heard. You can check that with the elevator man, and he'll tell you that's right.
Oh, Blackie. What a lovely restaurant.
Lovely ratskeller, Mary.
Huh?
Joe King wouldn't like it if you call this place just a restaurant.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, here comes Joe now.
Well, Boston-blackie. It's good to see you again, my friend.
Good to see you, too, Joe. Oh, Joe, this is Mary Wesley.
How do you do?
How do you do, Joe?
A nice, quiet table, Blackie?
Yes, where I can get some information, Joe.
Oh, you're here on business, huh?
On a murder case, Joe.
Uh-huh.
You lost one of your customers. And I thought you might be able to help me find out who killed him.
Well, according to last reports, I'm going to lose another, too. Evelyn Anderson. I understand
She's not being charged with murder yet, Joe.
No, Joe. She's being held as a material witness. And so is her boyfriend, Bill Jackson.
Which brings me to my first question, Joe.
Yeah?
Was Evelyn Anderson ever in here holding hands with Clyde Winston?
No, she was... Oh, but Winston used to come in here with a fellow named Gus Thomas about a year ago. That is until they had a fight.
About what?
Well, over some sort of photographic equipment Thomas had developed and Winston appropriated.
That mean anything to you, Blackie?
It sure does.
Mr. King, that package has arrived.
Oh, excuse me, please. Some silverware I've been expecting. I'll be back.
Okay, Joe.
Yes, sure, Joe. Blackie, why that puzzled look on your face?
Take another look, Mary. It isn't there anymore.
No, it isn't. What are you smiling about?
I know how a shotgun could get into Winston's studio without anyone seeing it.
Oh?
It could have been sent to Winston by express. I'm going to make a call.
To whom?
To Carl, the elevator man at Winston's building. If an express company delivered any packages to Winston's studio the day he was killed, they were delivered for the express purpose of murder.
Now I can go into my studio and get to work again, Mabel.
All right.
We put new plates and wrapping paper with my labels in Winston's studio.
Gus, you don't think that Blackie noticed the plates weren't there, do you? You know, he looked all around the place.
He was trying to find something that was there, Mabel, not something that wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'm going to work in peace now.
Maybe I'll come in for a little while,
Oh, all right, if you want to.
I feel sort of safe around you.
April 7th, 1948, Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll hear the conclusion of Boston Blackie, but first, these important messages from your favorite radio station. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of Boston Blackie starring Dick Kollmar. April 7th, 1948.
Oh, we needn't expect any trouble, Mabel. If we ever have any, though, there's that other shotgun in the closet, loaded and ready.
Oh, I hope you never have to use it.
There'll never be any need to, Mabel. Oh, come on in.
Thank you, Gus. Oh, it's dark without the lights on.
Well, I'll take care of that. There. That better?
A lot better, Gus.
Oh, it's Blackie.
Now, every time I open a door, I find you, Blackie.
That's right.
You don't have any respect for locked doors, do you?
Not when they keep me out of a killer's studio. I have quite a way with locks, you know.
And quite a way with words, too. Or is there something wrong with my hearing?
No, you heard right. You killed Clyde Winston, and this cleaning woman here helped you.
Oh, no.
Oh, we killed him together, did we?
Yes, and I'll tell you how.
All right.
You got the gun into Winston's studio in 2 express packages. The shotgun you used was the type that comes apart. Carl, the elevator man, told me 2 packages with your label on them were delivered to Winston the day he died.
I sent 2 packages to Winston. Photographic plates.
No, you didn't.
Yes, he did.
Because there were no new plates in Winston's studio.
Oh? Have you looked recently?
I looked the place over before you got there just a little while ago, and there were no plates. Now I know what you and this woman came to Winston's studio for. The sack she was carrying didn't contain trash, but photographic plates.
No.
You knew someone might think to look for them.
You can't prove anything you say.
No,
Blackie.
you can't.
I think I can. I know how the gun was taken out, too. In the trash by this woman, along with the packages it came in.
You seem to forget that the gun was found in the back of Bill Jackson's car.
Yes.
You could have put it there, Thomas. You knew Evelyn Anderson. You might have seen her with Jackson. You found Jackson's car and knew he'd be a good murder suspect, so you planted the gun in his car.
You know, you talk a great deal, but you're not saying anything that proves I murdered Winston.
Really?
Mabel, where are you going?
I won't let him take you to jail, Gus. I won't let him do it. I won't let him do it.
Now, Mabel, stay out of that closet.
No, I'll stop him with this shotgun, Gus. He knows too much about you.
Mabel, put down the gun.
Oh, I don't think she ought to put it down now, Thomas. She's told me everything I want to know.
I'm going to kill you, Blackie.
Wait, Mabel, wait.
But why, Gus? Why? He's going to take you to jail.
No, he's not, Mabel. I will take him somewhere else and kill him.
But he knows the whole story. He knows what we did to Winston because he stole your invention, Gus.
Well, thank you, Mabel. And now I'll take that gun.
Don't move, Blackie, or you'll take what's in it.
I said I'd take that gun.
Shoot him, Mabel. Shoot him.
Yes, I will. It won't fire, Gus.
Oh, that's too bad, Mabel. I'll take that.
No, you don't.
God. Oh.
Well, Mabel, that's that. There's your friend. Go ahead and wake him up.
You know, you're lucky. You're lucky you're not dead. If that gun had gone off, you'd be dead.
But it couldn't have gone off, Mabel. You see, I found this gun before you and your boyfriend got here. I took out the shell and left it in the closet. And now I have you and Gus in the bag.
You know, Blackie, we ought to come over here to Joe King's fraternity house more often. Everything is so wonderful.
The top models in town come here, Mary. Look at that girl over there. Isn't she gorgeous?
Maybe we shouldn't come here so often. Blackie.
Yes?
Blackie, when did you decide that Bill Jackson wasn't guilty of the Clyde Winston murder?
As soon as I figured out how the shotgun must have gotten into Winston's apartment, I knew Jackson wasn't involved. I'm surprised he didn't confess, though, just to protect his girlfriend when she was a suspect.
Men do things like that for their girls, don't they, Blackie?
Sure. Get yourself arrested for murder sometime, Mary, and I'll do the same for you. Glad to.
Thank you. Very little. You know, that Gus individual had a pretty good frame-up going for him for a while.
That he did. He was hiding in Winston's studio when Evelyn got there and knew the police would discover she was the last to see him alive and decided to really involve not only her, but Bill Jackson, too.
Well, anyhow, it's all over, and I'm still hungry. Waiter! Oh, waiter!
It's all over, Mary, except the shouting.
April 7th, 1948, Boston-Blackie on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Well, it's been a while on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, so let's check in on Claudia and David down on the farm, an episode of the soap opera Claudia, April 7th, 1948.
Your Coca-Cola bottler presents Claudia, based on the play and novels by Rose Franken, brought to you transcribed Monday through Friday by your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. Relax, and while you're listening, refresh yourself. Have a Coke. And now, Claudia.
David, what are you hammering in there in the bedroom?
I'm not hammering. I'm trying to get this bureau drawer open.
Is it stuck?
No, it's just a little reluctant.
Never stuck before. What have you done to it?
Didn't do anything. Maybe it heard we're going to Aunt Louisa's for dinner.
Oh.
A nice drawer. Doesn't want me to get it there at all.
What good does thumping do? You can't hit the drawer loose, can you?
No, but it makes me feel a lot better.
David, what are we going to talk about when we get to Aunt Louisa's?
We can talk about the present she's going to give us.
Oh, you're lucky you haven't seen it yet. It's a big umbrella stand, a sort of Chinese vase. You put the umbrellas in it?
No?
I've detested it ever since I was a baby. And now I'm going to have it in my own house.
Well, sounds nice. We'll, have to buy some umbrellas.
Umbrellas are bad enough, but this, David, it's awful. And it's so big we won't have room for it even if we could carry it, which we can't. It weighs a ton.
Ooh, sounds fine. We can use it to keep the roof from blowing off, or maybe for a spare chimney.
The worst thing is we have to put it somewhere in the house, or Aunt Louisa will be terribly disappointed. It'll be her housewarming present to us.
We don't need a housewarming present. We just put in a new heating system.
Aunt Louisa is the most generous relative I have.
Well, I wish she weren't so generous. If she were just a little bit stingier, she might give us something so small that we could squeeze it through the farm door.
Why don't we talk to her about the farm? Sort of a hint.
That's great. I'll say, Aunt Louisa, we just bought a big farm with a tiny house. Then what'll she say?
She'll say, how exciting. Claudia's great-great-aunt Matthias lived on a farm.
And I'll say I didn't know Claudia had a great-great-aunt Matthias.
And she'll say, Claudia, didn't you know he was your grandmother's uncle and his son's grandchildren of the Boston Browns? I don't see why you children don't ever get together.
Oh, that's the only aunt I ever knew of that was an uncle. I don't see why either.
No matter what we start talking about, Aunt Louisa will find a relative who got there first. I wonder if Aunt Louisa's interested in farming.
I'm afraid that's all she's interested in. I think the only thing she's interested in is giving us a big present. And in her asthma and in her relatives.
Now, please, David, think what else we're going to talk to her about. I mean, that she'll be interested in.
Well, we'll talk to her about how much we like her umbrella stand. That'll take some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll talk about how much we enjoy having it.
Yes.
That'll take more time. Then, well, after all, we don't have to get there till dinner.
Isn't it lucky she has dinner at 7:30 and not at 7?
Are you sure it's 7:30?
Maybe it's 7, but I don't think so. We can go home sooner afterward when it's later. That's consoling.
Very, very.
David, do you think any of her other relatives ever come for dinner?
I wonder what they talk about.
Oh, she probably tells them all about us. Just the way she tells us about them.
Someday we ought to have a big reunion and swap notes on Aunt Louisa's conversation.
Oh, look at you.
Uh-oh. What have I done now?
You've been getting dressed the whole time we've been talking. That is not fair.
Well, don't worry, darling. Because when I'm dressed, I'm going to sit down, smoke a pipe, read a book. I'm going to dawdle along like an Arkansas mule on an August afternoon. We won't get there a second too soon.
It's only 6 o'clock, so please take a half an hour to pick out your tie. And when you dawdle, please go slow. David, are we very late?
Only about 10 minutes. And wouldn't you know that Aunt Louisa would have a knocker on her door instead of a simple little electric bell?
Maybe she'll give us a knocker for the housewarming present instead of the umbrella stand.
Not a chance. It's too practical.
Right.
Claudia, my child, it's you and David. How nice. How nice.
Hello, Aunt Louisa. We're very glad to be here.
Hello, Aunt Louisa.
You look excellent, Claudia. Expectant motherhood always makes a woman look excellent. Do come in. Do come in.
Well, here we are.
Put your coat down, child. Put it right there on the chair. Osgood will hang them up for you when he finishes getting dinner ready.
There it is, the umbrella stand.
Wow. That's all right, Aunt Louisa. I think we can manage them by ourselves.
You can? Oh, that's fine. Well, child, aren't you grateful to have a strong young man around the house? Particularly now that you're not so well.
But I'm fine, Aunt Louisa. You just said
I know, my dear, but you must be careful. Very careful. Oh, very. David, are you being very careful of Claudia?
Aunt Louisa, you are underestimating the power of my wife. I just hope that Claudia will be very careful of me.
What was that? Oh. Well, here we are, just the three of us. Isn't that nice? I thought of having some second cousins, but...
Oh, this is much nicer, really.
It was very sweet of you two to come out here to see me. And I want to hear all about your sweet little farm. Before dinner, even.
Then we aren't late?
Oh, my dear, no. You're very early.
We are, Aunt Louisa?
That's what's so very nice about this little visit. We never sit down to eat until at least 8:30. That gives us plenty of time to...
8:30.
It's all habit. But you, poor boy, you sound hungry. Still, we shan't give you a thing to spoil your appetite. Shall we, Claudia?
8:30?
Well, I suppose that is rather late for some people. It's a question of what one is accustomed to. If David is very, very hungry, we may give him a nice raw carrot.
A raw?
That's very kind of you, Aunt Louisa, but I'd rather not spoil my appetite with a raw carrot.
Never turn up your nose at raw carrots, David. They're full of vitamin A, and they're supposed to be good for eyes.
Really?
And I find they're quite helpful for my asthma.
How is your asthma, Aunt Louisa?
Yes.
Just the same as always. Better one day.
Good.
Worse the next.
Good.
What's that? We won't say a word about it.
Well, if you don't want us to, Aunt Louisa, we certainly won't.
Right now, it's better. I think I've only had one attack in the last 2 weeks. Isn't this nice? We have a whole 3/4 of an hour to talk before dinner.
Yes.
Let's sit down and have a good talk, children.
I've always loved your house, Aunt Louisa. Don't you like it, David?
Oh, I think it's charming. Really charming. Yes, it's charming.
I'm glad you like it, David. I know Claudia always has.
Yes.
But I want to hear about the sweet little farm you've bought up in Connecticut. Claudia comes very naturally by her love for farming. I'm not a bit surprised. Not the least bit.
Her great-uncle, you mean?
Well, he really isn't a great-uncle. He's... Why, yes, he is her great-uncle, Ralph. How did you know? Did Claudia's mother tell you?
Not exactly. We just sort of...
Uncle Ralph was a great farmer. It ran in his blood. Now it's running in Claudia's. He had a 400-acre farm up in New Hampshire.
400 acres?
Oh, yes. I'm sure it was 400. You see, child, you come by it naturally. Isn't life fantastic, David? Really fantastic.
Sometimes it is, Aunt Louisa. And other times it seems to turn out exactly the way you expect it to.
Sometimes it does, but not always. This evening, for example, isn't turning out the way I expected at all.
It isn't? It's turning out just the way we expected.
Well, child, you knew you were going to be early, and now we're going to have this nice little talk, but I didn't know it.
That's true, Claudia. You can't disagree.
No. Now, oh dear, I meant to wait until later to tell you about it. I can't seem to restrain myself.
There's no great hurry, Aunt Louisa, whatever it is.
That's sweet of you, but it's going to give me so much pleasure that I just can't control myself. Isn't it terrible to be so weak? Age, I suppose. Age.
Well, if it's really going to give you pleasure, well, Aunt Louisa, please, whatever it is, you go right ahead and do it.
Yes, please do.
Claudia and David, I want to give you a present for your new farm.
Aunt Louisa, that's so sweet of you, but really, we weren't expecting anything at all. And we
really don't need anything.
No.
Nonsense. You need everything. Two young people moving to a farm, you need all sorts of things. Seeds and plows and all sorts of things like that. And you need things for your house. That umbrella stand in the hall. I saw you looking at it, David.
Yes, it's quite an umbrella stand.
It's irreplaceable, David. There's not another one in the world like it.
I can imagine.
Weighs over 100 pounds. It's real English china.
You must be very attached to it.
I am, David. But I'm not the only one who is. Ever since she was a little girl, Claudia has admired that umbrella stand.
So she told me.
I promised Claudia that when she grew up enough to have a home of her own, I'd give her that umbrella stand.
Oh, Aunt Louisa, you shouldn't have.
I know I shouldn't have. And as a matter of fact, Claudia, I'm not going to.
You're not?
It's much too precious a piece of china to give to you now, before you even move into the farm. Something might happen to it. You'd never forgive yourself.
Aunt Louisa, you are so thoughtful.
But you mustn't think I'm not going to give you a housewarming present. Claudia, here's my present to you. Now, all you and David have to do is pick it out for yourselves.
It's a book?
It's more than that, darling. It's practically a Bible. It's a mail order catalog.
Your great Uncle Ralph told me once that no farm was complete without it. Now, I want you and David to look through it and write out a list of the things you really need. And when you do, I shall give it to you for a housewarming present.
Aunt Louisa, I don't know how to thank you. It's the
Don't
nice...
cry, child, and don't worry. Later on, you shall have the umbrella stand, too. We'll talk about that some other time.
Yes, some other time.
Well, there's Osgood. Dinner must be ready now. You were early, and so was he. Certainly has been an evening for surprises.
It certainly has. Wonderful surprises.
What's that song?
La, 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 la. It's a little private tune of ours. Dum, 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 dum. La, 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 la.
If your family were asked, they'd certainly agree that Mom is a hard worker and she deserves a break now and then. One break that's increasingly popular with housewives is the pause that refreshes. Why don't you pause for ice-cold Coca-Cola during the day's work? You'll discover it's a mighty good idea to work refreshed.
Excuse me a moment, Mr. King.
Why, certainly, Aunt Louisa. I trust you'll forgive my informality, but I don't know you by any other name.
My dear boy, Aunt Louisa is perfectly all right. Tell me, Mr. King, in your opinion, was it a mistake to give David and Claudia a mail-order catalog for a housewarming present?
Well, what could possibly be wrong?
Some people run wild when they look at the pictures, Mr. King. They order everything in sight. If David doesn't watch out, I rather suspect that Claudia may... Well, her eyes may be bigger than her pocketbook.
I hope that won't happen, Aunt Louisa. But I think that tomorrow Claudia's going to go to work on that catalog all by herself.
Oh, dear, I hope she doesn't do anything foolish.
Well, I hope she won't either, but I'm going to listen in and find out. Goodbye, Aunt Louisa. And as I was about to say, every day, Monday through Friday, Claudia comes to you transcribed with the best wishes of your friendly neighbor who bottles Coca-Cola. So listen again tomorrow at the same time. And now this is Joe King saying au revoir. And remember, whoever you are, whatever you do, wherever you may be. When you think of refreshment, think of Coca-Cola. For Coca-Cola makes any pause the pause that refreshes. And ice-cold Coca-Cola is everywhere. This broadcast of Claudia was supervised and directed by William Brown Maloney.
From April 7th, 1948, Claudia here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Would you thank this radio station and support their advertisers? It's their kindness and courtesy that allow us to be with you each and every time we roll around here on your favorite radio station. Now, if you miss a day, you don't have to miss a single show. All of our shows are available 21 hours a week at our webpage, classicradio.stream. That is classicradio.stream. You can stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can contact me, find our social media links. You can also, if you like to support the show, you can buy me a coffee. That Buy Me a Coffee money goes toward helping us acquire additional classic radio collections and maintain our distribution channels. That is at classicradio.stream. Have yourself a great day. Would you do me a favor? Tell all your friends that the greatest radio shows of all time are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station.